the quiet, cradle-like embrace of Silverveil Valley, where the gentle evening shadows stretched long and velvet soft across the rolling green hills, there stood a cozy timber cottage with a chimney crafted from smooth river stones. The cottage was the cherished home of Oliver, a young silver fox with soft, dense midnight gray fur, white-tipped paws, and warm golden eyes that radiated gentle wonder and quiet contentment. As the setting sun dipped beneath the jagged western horizon, painting the sky in wide washes of deep lavender, dusty rose, and translucent amber, Oliver sat comfortably by his stone hearth fire. He listened attentively to the soft, rhythmic crackle of drying pine logs as tangerine sparks danced upward into the chimney flue. Outside his low, paned window, the grand and majestic silhouette of Mount Celestia loomed proudly against the twilight sky. Its soaring snow-crowned peak rose so high into the upper atmospheres that ancient valley legends swore it touched the silver face of the full moon whenever midsummer arrived. Tonight was that long-awaited midsummer moonrise, a rare and magical evening when the silver tide of celestial moonlight was said to rest directly upon the highest summit pinnacle, casting an unbroken mantle of profound peace across the entire sleeping world below. As the twilight deepened, the gentle lull of the valley seemed to hush the rustling leaves of the meadow. Every breath of wind carried the comforting warmth of summer earth, promising a night of restful stillness. Oliver leaned his head back against the soft high-backed chair, watching the firelight cast flickering golden shapes upon the exposed timber beams of his ceiling. The world outside was slipping into quiet shadow, and his heart felt light, unburdened, and completely at peace. The gentle warmth of the hearth fire hummed softly in tune with the quiet night, spreading a calm and soothing atmosphere across every nook of the stone cottage. Oliver carefully poured himself a fresh, steaming cup of warm chamomile tea, thoughtfully brewed with dried yellow clover blossoms and a small drop of golden clover honey. The comforting scent of rising steam carried rich notes of sun-kissed wildflower meadows and soothing dried herbs throughout the cozy, wood-scented room. He held the thick earthenware mug gently in both paws, feeling the deep, penetrating warmth seep into his velvet fingertips and relax his entire body. Through the window glass, he watched the very first evening stars awaken one by one in the deepening dusk. High above the cottage roof, a gentle evening breeze rustled through the broad leaves of an ancient oak tree, whispering soft secrets of quiet nightfall and tranquil dreams. Oliver took a slow, deep breath, letting the calm of the approaching dusk settle into his chest and quiet his thoughts. He set his empty mug down on the smooth oak table, wrapped a warm, hand-knit wool scarf around his neck, and prepared to take his nightly walk toward the winding mountain paths that sloped gently upward toward the great peak above. The warmth of the tea seemed to settle deeply into his stomach, radiating a cozy comfort throughout his limbs. Outside, the evening sky shifted from glowing rose to deep sapphire, revealing twinkling star after star like silent friends gathering for the night. Oliver felt his shoulders drop naturally away from his ears, releasing any lingering stiffness. Each quiet breath he drew was full of simple contentment, grounding him in the serene rhythm of his home. A deep sense of stillness settled over his heart as he listened to the faint rustle of dry leaves in the warm evening breeze, feeling completely peaceful. As Oliver stepped out onto his wooden porch, the crisp evening air greeted him like a soft, welcoming hand resting upon his shoulders. The rich aroma of damp pine resin, crushed moss, and night-blooming white jasmine filled the quiet stillness. Sitting atop the sturdy birch fence post was Luna, a magnificent silver owl with velvet soft feathers, round sapphire eyes, and a soothing, comforting presence. Luna blinked her luminous eyes slowly at Oliver, tilting her head in friendly greeting before spreading her broad wings with an effortless, silent flutter. She did not fly far ahead, but instead perched gracefully on a low birch branch nearby, offering her silent, reassuring companionship. Together, the silver fox and the silver owl turned their eyes toward the winding trail that curved softly into the whispering pine woods. The trail was paved with rounded river stones and carpeted with a thick layer of emerald moss that cushioned every step, ensuring their upward progress was as hushed and peaceful as falling winter snow. The moss beneath his feet was soft and yielding, cushioning every step with quiet, velvet padding. Luna hovered silently overhead, her silver feathers gleaming like spun silk under the emerging starlight. The entrance to the woods welcomed them with cool, fragrant shade, offering a peaceful sanctuary far removed from all noise and distraction. Together, the two companions moved forward with unhurried grace into the tranquil night. The quiet woods welcomed them with open arms, offering a secluded haven of stillness where every breath brought deeper relaxation and quiet joy. The journey up the lower slopes of Mount Celestia was never a rushed endeavor, it was a rhythmic, peaceful meditation, a procession of calm, deliberate breaths and mindful steps. Oliver watched his paws move softly over the mossy stones, feeling the cool, grounding earth beneath his soles. With every quiet step away from his valley cottage, the small worries and busyness of the daytime seemed to dissolve into the cool evening air. The surrounding forest was waking up in its own wonderfully tranquil way. Evening crickets began their rhythmic lullaby, a steady, pulsing hum that echoed softly through the tall trees. Above them, the indigo sky deepened into a vast cosmic canvas, studded with thousands of twinkling stars that looked like tiny diamond dust scattered across black velvet. Luna fluttered gently from branch to branch overhead, her silver wings catching the pale starlight and guiding their peaceful way into the heart of the woods. The soft crunch of river pebbles beneath his paws sounded like a rhythmic, soothing metronome in the quiet forest. With every step, the gentle cool air washed over his fur, soothing his senses and bringing a profound clarity to his mind. He watched the starlight filter through the high branches, creating dancing silver spots on the dark earth. The night was vast and open, wrapping him in a soft cloak of tranquil serenity. Above the forest canopy, the eternal stars shone brightly, casting soft silver beams down through the broad pine branches to guide their gentle footsteps. As they ventured deeper into the groves of the whispering pine woods, the tall ancient pine trees stood like gentle, loyal guardians of the evening shadow. Their broad evergreen boughs created a lush natural canopy high above, filtering the starlight into soft, flickering patterns on the needle-covered forest floor. Oliver paused for a moment to rest against the thick trunk of a grandfather pine. The bark was rough yet surprisingly warm, smelling strongly of sweet resin and rich earth. He leaned close and listened to the steady wind passing through millions of pine needles above. The sound was remarkably like the distant, rhythmic rush of gentle ocean waves, rising and falling in perfect harmony with his own slow breathing. In and out, in and out. The steady, soothing cadence of the forest invited his mind to let go of all lingering thoughts, focusing entirely on the present moment and the peaceful stillness surrounding his spirit. Standing beneath the towering pine, Oliver felt a quiet sense of permanence and strength flow from the ancient roots. The forest had stood here for centuries, watching moons rise and set in timeless peace. As he listened to the wind's gentle song, he realized how natural it was to let go of needless worries. In this quiet sanctuary, everything was in perfect order, and he was a harmonious part of the living night. Underneath the majestic canopy of the ancient trees, the quiet air was rich with the sweet fragrance of pine needles and damp mountain earth. Beside the winding trail, tiny blue lantern mushrooms sprouted along the damp base of old fallen logs, emitting a soft, ethereal azure luminescence. Their gentle glow illuminated delicate droplets of evening dew clinging to spiderwebs, making them look like miniature necklaces of liquid pearls draped across the ferns. Oliver knelt down softly on one knee to admire a glowing mushroom cluster, watching how its tranquil light pulsed gently in the deep forest shadows. There was no noise here, no hurry, and no pressure of time. The ancient mountain moved at its own slow, eternal pace, teaching all who walked its secluded paths to slow down, listen deeply, and simply be. Luna perched quietly on a low pine bough just above him, fluffing her soft feathers as if nodding in silent agreement with the forest wisdom. Oliver smiled with heartfelt gratitude for this simple beauty before standing up to continue his calm ascent. The faint blue light of the lantern mushrooms cast a magical aura across the damp forest floor. Dewdrops glistened like scattered gems on the dark leaves, reflecting the pale azure glow. Oliver lingered for a few breaths, absorbing the quiet magic of the scene. The world was quiet, gentle, and slow, asking nothing of him except to appreciate the wondrous beauty unfolding right before his golden eyes. Surrounded by the soft blue glow of the lantern mushrooms, Oliver paused to absorb the silent wonder of the forest, letting all thoughts rest. The dirt path began to curve upward in a series of long, gentle switchbacks that wound around the western shoulder of Mount Celestia. As they climbed higher, the crisp air grew noticeably cooler and fresher, carrying the invigorating scent of mountain frost, wild thyme, and cool stone. Oliver paused at a natural bench carved into the hillside rock by centuries of flowing rainwater. He sat down comfortably upon the smooth stone, pulling his woolen knit scarf a little closer around his chin. Looking down into Silverveil Valley below, he could see his small timber cottage nestled far in the distance. Its paned windows glowed like tiny amber embers in the dark landscape, a comforting beacon of home. The rest of the valley was fast asleep, nestled beneath a blanket of soft night mist that hovered over the sleeping meadows like spun white silk. Sitting on the cool stone bench, Oliver let his eyes rest upon the sleeping valley below. The small glowing windows of his cottage looked so small and cozy, like a flickering candle in a dark window. The sea of soft white mist drifted lazily across the pastures, smoothing away all sharp edges of the land. He felt a comforting sense of distance from the world, held safely in the calm arms of the mountain height. From this high mountain bench, the distant valley below seemed like a quiet world wrapped in soft silk mists, completely peaceful and quiet. Luna landed with absolute silence beside Oliver on the stone bench, folding her wings neatly against her sides. She turned her round sapphire eyes toward the eastern horizon, where the gleaming silver rim of the full moon was just beginning to rise over the distant jagged ridges. A pale, pearlescent radiance began to wash across the sky, softening the deep darkness and transforming floating clouds into billows of shimmering silver lace. Oliver watched in quiet awe as the moonlight touched the tops of the pine forest below, turning the dark green trees into a vast ocean of shimmering silver waves. The sight was so filled with serene magic that Oliver felt a wave of profound calmness wash through his entire body, relaxing his shoulders, easing his mind, and slowing his heartbeat into a deep, peaceful pulse. The rising full moon seemed to illuminate the very atmosphere, filling the night air with a soft, pearlescent glow. Every leaf and pine needle below shimmered with a delicate silver border. Luna sat beside him in absolute stillness, her sapphire eyes reflecting the radiant moon disk. The silence between them was rich with deep understanding, a shared reverence for the majestic quiet of the midsummer night. The silver moonlight painted every tree and stone in shimmering brilliance, filling the night sky with a soft, comforting luminescence. Continuing along the mossy path, Oliver and Luna soon reached the quiet banks of the Moon Mirror Brook, a crystal-clear mountain stream that bubbled down from the high mountain springs. The water flowed gently over smooth pink granite pebbles, creating a delicate tinkling melody that sounded like distant silver chimes playing in the wind. Oliver knelt by the water edge and dipped his white-tipped paws into the cool stream, letting the fresh water revive his senses. The surface of the quiet pools was so still that it mirrored the starry sky above perfectly, making it look as though bright stars were swimming just beneath the surface. Oliver scooped up a little water in his paws to drink, feeling its icy sweetness soothe his throat and bring a deep sense of inner quiet to his soul. The sound of the bubbling water was a continuous, rhythmic melody that washed over his. Along the damp banks of the stream grew dense clusters of night-blooming moon lilies. Their large, velvety white petals unfolded slowly in the rising moonlight, releasing a delicate, intoxicating perfume that drifted gently across the water. Oliver breathed in the soothing fragrance, feeling it fill his lungs with pure serenity. Each translucent lily cup seemed to hold a glowing drop of liquid moonlight within its heart. Luna dipped her beak gently into a quiet pool of the stream, taking a small sip before shaking her feathers clean of water droplets. The peaceful harmony between the owl, the fox, the flowing stream, and the fragrant flowers created an atmosphere of complete tranquility, where time itself seemed to pause, suspended in the beauty of the midsummer night. The sweet perfume of the moon lilies hung heavy in the still air, carrying a subtle honey fragrance that relaxed his mind. As the moon climbed higher, the white petals seemed to glow with an inner luminescence, illuminating the stream bank in pale ivory light. Oliver took another slow, fragrant breath, marveling at how every element of nature seemed to work together to create a sanctuary of rest and healing. Fragrant perfume from the white moon lilies floated gently on the breeze, filling the air with a sweet and calming aroma that rested the mind. Leaving the stream behind, the path led toward the ancient Silver Bridge, a grand stone archway built by mountain wanderers long ago to cross a deep, fern-filled mountain glen. The bridge was crafted from pale gray stones covered in soft lichen that shimmered faint silver under the bright moon. As Oliver walked across the sturdy stone arch, he paused at the midpoint to look over the low parapet into the valley below. Down in the misty hollow, thousands of golden fireflies danced softly among the tall ferns, floating up and down like living lanterns. Their warm light flickered in slow, rhythmic pulses, creating a mesmerizing display of golden sparks against the cool blue shadows of the ravine. The ancient stone of the bridge felt solid and reassuring beneath his paws, built with timeless craftsmanship. Below, the misty ravine was alive with the gentle pulse of firefly light. Thousands of tiny golden sparks floated through the ferns in a slow, weightless dance. The scene looked like a starry sky turned upside down, filling Oliver's spirit with quiet wonder and childlike joy. High above the misty ravine, the ancient bridge stood strong and silent, wrapped in silver moss and lit by thousands of dancing fireflies. Oliver rested his front paws on the cool stone ledge of the bridge, watching the fireflies dance in the quiet air. Each tiny point of light seemed to whisper a quiet message of wonder and peace. The gentle mountain breeze carried the rich scent of damp soil, crushed pine needles, and sweet fern fronds up from the glen. Luna perched on the stone ledge right beside him, her elegant silhouette outlined against the glowing sky. Together they stood in peaceful appreciation of the simple, quiet magic of the world. There was no need for spoken words between them, their shared quietness was a language of its own. After a long, restorative moment, Oliver took another slow breath of fresh air and turned to continue following the stone trail higher up the mountain slope. Oliver leaned against the stone parapet, enjoying the cool sensation of the lichen against his fur. The evening air carried the damp, earthly perfume of moss and deep mountain roots. Luna ruffled her feathers softly, letting out a quiet sigh that blended with the mountain breeze. They took their time on the bridge, allowing the peace of the glen to seep thoroughly into their souls before stepping forward onto the continuing path. Listening to the quiet music of the mountain night, Oliver felt completely aligned with the serene harmony of nature, at home in the quiet dusk. Beyond the bridge, the mountain path entered the wide archway of the echoing crystal caverns, a natural passage cut deep into the stone ridge. The air inside the entrance was pleasantly cool and still, carrying the clean scent of wet granite and pure subterranean spring water. As Oliver stepped into the opening, he was met not by darkness, but by a soft, ambient violet glow emanating from clusters of amethyst crystals embedded within the rock walls. The crystals caught the bright moonlight streaming through the entrance, refracting it into gentle beams of purple, lavender, and silver light that painted shimmering geometric patterns across the smooth stone floor. Entering the crystal cavern felt like stepping into an underground palace of quiet dreams. The ambient purple light from the amethyst veins radiated a soft, soothing energy that calmed the eyes and stilled the heart. The smooth stone floor beneath his paws was worn soft by time, guiding him gently through the illuminated chamber. Here, away from the wind, the air was perfectly calm and still. The soft purple glow of the amethyst crystals illuminated the stone cavern in gentle washes of lavender light, creating a soothing sanctuary. From high up on the cavern ceiling, single drops of pure mountain water fell at long, steady intervals into shallow crystal pools below. Plop, plop, plop. The delicate sound echoed softly through the cavern, creating a slow, rhythmic melody that sounded like a natural lullaby composed by the mountain itself. Each falling drop created expanding ripple rings across the still water, sending shimmering waves of violet light dancing up the high rock walls. Oliver walked slowly through the hall, his steps light and careful so as not to interrupt the soothing. Luna glided silently through the cavern air, her broad silver wings making no sound as she navigated the amethyst-lit passageway. She perched near a high natural skylight in the cavern ceiling, where the full moon shone directly overhead like a luminous silver coin. The bright moonlight poured down through the stone opening, creating a radiant pillar of pure silver light in the very center of the cavern floor. Oliver stepped slowly into the glowing beam, feeling its cool, soothing warmth encompass his body. It felt as though he were bathing in liquid stillness, every tension in his muscles releasing into the quiet night. Standing within the central pillar of moonlight, Oliver felt entirely purified of all world. Leaving the crystal cavern through its upper archway, Oliver emerged onto the high, open slopes of Mount Celestia. Here, the dense pine forest gave way to sweeping alpine meadows filled with wild alpine grass and delicate starlace flowers. The flowers had tiny white petals shaped like intricate six-pointed stars that swayed gently in the mountain breeze. The full moon was now high in the indigo sky, casting a brilliant silver blanket across the entire landscape. The mountain peak rose majestically just ahead, its sweeping snowfields shimmering like molten silver against the dark cosmic void. Emerging onto the open high slopes, the expansive sky opened up above them in all its cosmic glory. The air was fresh and crisp, scented with alpine grass and clean snow. Below, the clouds rolled gently across the lower valleys like a quiet ocean of white cotton. Oliver paused to take in the vastness of the view, feeling weightless, free, and deeply at peace with the world. Out on the open slopes of Mount Celestia, the vast star-filled sky stretched as far as the eye could see, sparkling like cosmic diamonds. Oliver walked out into the middle of the star-lace meadow, feeling the cool alpine grass tickle his paws. He stopped and sat down comfortably in a soft patch of velvet moss, pulling his knees up and wrapping his tail around his toes. Luna landed softly beside him, folding her wings and settling onto the moss with a quiet coo. High above them, the sky was so remarkably clear that the pale silver band of the Milky Way galaxy was visible, stretching across the cosmos like a luminous river of stardust. Oliver looked up at the countless twinkling stars, feeling deeply connected to the grand and timeless beauty of the universe. The vastness did not feel cold or distant, it felt warm and cozy, like a vast velvet quilt wrapping around the world. Sitting in the star-lace meadow, Oliver felt the cool velvet moss beneath him like a plush cushion. The starry sky stretched out forever above, carrying the bright band of the Milky Way across the dark dome. Luna settled beside him, folding her wings in total contentment. The vast cosmic silence was not lonely, it was comforting, holding them in a gentle, eternal embrace. Lying in the soft moss of the meadow, Oliver looked up at the Milky Way galaxy, feeling warm, cozy, and deeply connected to the universe. As they rested quietly in the meadow, a gentle family of starlight deer emerged silently from the shadow of the tree-line. The deer had sleek, silver-gray coats that caught the moonlight. The presence of the grazing deer brought a feeling of complete peace to the high meadow. Fox, owl, deer, mountain, and sky were all sharing the same slow, quiet breath of the night. Oliver felt his body grow heavier and more relaxed with every passing moment. His eyelids felt comfortably heavy, warmed by the soft night breeze. He lay back gently against the cushion of moss, resting his head on his paws as he gazed up at the thin, silvery clouds drifting lazily across the face of the full moon. The clouds moved like feathers floating on a still pond, bringing a deep sense of rest to his peaceful soul. Lying back on the soft moss, Oliver let his eyes trace the slow journey of wispy silver clouds across the moon face. The grass tickled his ears softly, and the cool earth supported his body completely. Every breath brought a deeper wave of tranquility, sinking him into a state of effortless relaxation. The world was quiet, safe, and beautiful, inviting him to drift into sweet, restful thoughts. Resting under the open canopy of night, his breathing matched the slow, peaceful rhythm of the mountain wind, sinking into deep calm. After a long, restorative pause in the meadow, Oliver stood up slowly, stretching his legs and letting out a quiet, contented sigh. The summit of Mount Celestia was now close at hand, just a short walk further along the winding Obsidian cliff path. Luna took flight once more, her silver wings guiding the way upward. The cliff path was carved directly into the dark, smooth volcanic rock of the mountain ridge. Despite its towering height, the path was wide, safe, and lined with sturdy stone balustrades that had been polished smooth by centuries of wind and mountain rain. The Obsidian cliff path offered a smooth, stable surface that curved gracefully up the volcanic stone ridge. The dark rock absorbed the moonlight, giving off a soft, subtle sheen. Sturdy stone balustrades lined the outer edge, giving a comforting sense of security as they climbed higher. Luna glided just ahead, her silver form a reassuring beacon in the calm night air. The dark volcanic stone path wound gracefully upward toward the peak, protected by smooth stone balustrades polished by mountain breezes. As they climbed along the cliff path, the view below expanded into a breathtaking panorama. Silverveil Valley looked like a peaceful painting resting under a blanket of soft mist and pale lavender shadows. Tiny amber lights from distant farmhouses flickered like fallen stars across the dark valley floor. Oliver felt high above the busyness of the world, yet grounded in the solid stability of the mountain stone. The air here was cool, crisp, and wonderfully pure, carrying the clean scent of high snowfields. Every breath he took seemed to wash away any lingering tiredness, leaving behind only clarity and quiet contentment. Looking down from the high cliff path, the distant valley appeared like a dreamscape of soft shadows and glowing mist. The cool mountain air tasted pure and invigorating, filling his lungs with life and quiet energy. Oliver felt a sense of profound gratitude for the climb, realizing that every step upward had brought him closer to a state of absolute inner peace and stillness. High above the valley floor, the fresh alpine air washed through his chest, bringing clarity, quiet joy, and a feeling of profound peace. Along the edges of the obsidian cliff path, delicate frost crystals began to form on the dark rocks, sparkling like miniature diamonds under the bright moonlight. Oliver paused for a moment to gently touch a smooth stone covered in intricate ice patterns. The coldness was refreshing and clean against his paw. Luna perched on the stone balustrade, her eyes fixed on the sky above. The full moon was now approaching its highest point, positioned directly above the summit pinnacle of Mount Celestia. The ancient story was unfolding before their eyes. The mountain peak truly appeared to touch the silver rim of the moon. The frost crystals on the dark stone shone like scattered stars under the full moon's brilliance. Touching the cool ice patterns sent a pleasant wave of freshness through his paws. Above, the moon hung immense and bright, positioned right at the peak of the mountain. The moment of legend was close at hand, filling the night air with a quiet, shimmering sense of wonder. Glittering frost crystals sparkled on the rocks like tiny stars, reflecting the bright silver radiance of the full moon shining directly above. Near the crest of the cliff path stood the Arch of Stars, a grand natural stone formation where two towering basalt pillars leaned together to form a soaring Gothic arch over the trail. The arch was encrusted with glowing silver lichen that radiated a soft, soothing light. As Oliver walked beneath the stone arch, he felt a subtle shift in the air, a deep, sacred stillness that felt untouched by time. It was as though stepping through the arch meant leaving behind all worries of the world and entering a realm of eternal rest and peace. Walking beneath the Arch of Stars felt like passing through a gateway into pure, timeless peace. The glowing silver lichen on the basalt pillars cast a gentle halo around them as they crossed. On the other side of the arch, the air felt softer, stiller, and completely undisturbed by the passing of hours. Oliver smiled softly, stepping forward into the sacred quiet of the summit plateau. Stepping beneath the soaring Arch of Stars, he entered a timeless sanctuary of stillness where all worries dissolved into the calm night. Beyond the Arch of Stars lay the summit plateau, a wide, flat meadow that stretched toward the highest point of Mount Celestia. The plateau was covered in a carpet of soft white mountain clover that bloomed exclusively under the light of the midsummer moon. The blossoms released a delicate scent of sweet cream and wild vanilla that warmed the cool night air. Oliver walked slowly across the meadow, his feet sinking softly into the lush clover. Every step felt light and effortless, as if the mountain itself were supporting his weight and carrying him gently forward. The white mountain clover covered the summit plateau like a fragrant, velvety carpet. The delicate aroma of vanilla and sweet cream floated on the quiet breeze, relaxing his senses with every step. Oliver felt his feet sink softly into the lush clover, enjoying the comforting cushion beneath his paws. The peak was quiet, peaceful, and welcoming. The fragrant white mountain clover carpeted the high plateau, filling the gentle breeze with the sweet, soothing aroma of cream and vanilla. In the very center of the summit plateau stood the ancient silver blossom tree. This legendary tree had smooth, silver-white bark and broad, sweeping branches filled with glowing pearl-white blossoms. It was said that the tree was planted at the dawn of time by the moon itself. Tonight, beneath the midsummer moon, the tree was in magnificent full bloom. Its delicate petals shone with a soft, inner luminescence, casting a warm, comforting light across the entire summit plateau. The ancient silver blossom tree stood like a majestic jewel in the center of the plateau. Its glowing pearl-white blossoms lit up the surrounding grass with a soft, warm radiance. The silver trunk shimmered under the moon, looking like carved moonlight itself. Oliver stood in silent admiration, marveling at the beauty of this ancient living sanctuary. In the center of the plateau, the ancient silver blossom tree radiated a soft, pearl-white glow that bathed the entire peak in gentle light. Oliver approached the silver blossom tree with slow, reverent steps. He reached out his paw and gently touched the smooth silver bark of the trunk. The tree felt delightfully warm to the touch, humming with a low, deep vibration that resonated softly through the ground. It felt like holding the gentle heartbeat of the mountain itself. Luna flew up into the sweeping branches of the tree, perching among the glowing blossoms and tucking her head comfortably into her soft feathers with a satisfied, quiet coo. Placing his paw against the trunk of the silver blossom tree, Oliver felt a warm, rhythmic thrumming deep within the wood. It felt as though the tree were humming a quiet lullaby to the mountain itself. Luna settled comfortably into the glowing branches above, her feathers gleaming softly among the petals. The tree offered a feeling of safety, shelter, and timeless peace. Feeling the warm vibration of the silver trunk beneath his paw, Oliver felt connected to the deep, steady heartbeat of the mountain. Beneath the spreading boughs of the tree stood a circular bench carved from smooth white marble. Oliver sat down on the bench, pulling his woolen knit scarf snugly around his neck. From this vantage point on Mount Celestia, he enjoyed an unobstructed view of the entire world below. The vast horizon stretched out in all directions, covered in soft, sleeping clouds that resembled an ocean of silver foam. The night sky above was a vast, deep dome of darkest indigo, sparkling with infinite stars that watched over the world with endless kindness. Sitting on the white marble bench, Oliver gazed out at the endless horizon of sleeping clouds below. The sky above was a deep indigo dome filled with brilliant, clear stars. The marble seat was smooth and surprisingly comfortable, cradling his back. He felt high above all worldly concerns, resting peacefully in the high sanctuary of the night sky. Seated comfortably on the white marble bench, he gazed out across an ocean of soft sleeping clouds illuminated by the midnight stars. As Oliver sat beneath the glowing petals, the full moon reached its highest point directly above the crown of the silver blossom tree. The highest branches of the tree seemed to touch the glowing silver halo of the moon, fulfilling the ancient legend. A radiant cascade of pure silver moonlight streamed down through the leaves, bathing Oliver, Luna, and the marble bench in a soft, warm glow of absolute tranquility. The light was so peaceful that every remaining thought melted away into quiet joy. As the full moon aligned directly over the crown of the tree, a luminous flood of silver light poured down through the blossoms. The light washed over Oliver in warm, soothing waves, filling his spirit with pure tranquility. The legend was fulfilled in all its quiet glory, wrapping the entire summit in a mantle of celestial grace. Pure silver moonlight poured through the glowing tree branches, enveloping the summit in a warm, radiant embrace of celestial peace. The moonlight felt like a gentle embrace from the cosmos itself, warm, soothing, and deeply comforting. Oliver closed his golden eyes, letting the silver light rest upon his face and fur. He felt an overwhelming sense of contentment and peace settle into his heart. There was no past to think about, no future to plan for, only the quiet, beautiful present moment. He was completely safe, completely rested, and completely at home on the top of the sleeping world. Wrapped in the warm silver light, Oliver felt every remaining thought quiet down completely. He closed his golden eyes, surrendering to the profound stillness of the moment. The air was soft and mild, and his heart felt completely full of joy, contentment, and deep peace. He was truly at home on the top of the world. The soft light was like a gentle touch from the sky, filling his heart with profound contentment, rest, and absolute stillness. A single glowing white petal detached gently from a branch above and floated slowly down through the still air, landing softly on Oliver's lap. He picked up the petal with his paw, admiring its velvet texture and soft luminescence. The petal felt light as a feather, carrying the quiet magic of the mountain peak within its heart. Oliver held the petal close to his chest, offering a silent thank you to the mountain, the moon, and the quiet night for sharing their eternal peace. Holding the glowing white petal gently in his paw, Oliver felt a deep connection to the magic of the mountain. The petal was soft as silk and carried a faint, sweet fragrance of night clover. He tucked it carefully near his heart, grateful for this tangible blessing of peace from the silver blossom tree. Holding the glowing white blossom petal close to his chest, Oliver gave thanks for the beauty and quiet magic of the midsummer night. Luna unearthed her head from her feathers and let out a soft, melodious hoot that sounded like a sweet bedtime lullaby. She fluttered down from the branch and settled onto the marble bench beside Oliver, leaning her silver head gently against his arm. Oliver reached over and stroked Luna's soft feathers, feeling the steady, calming rhythm of her breath. The bond between the fox and the owl was unspoken yet deep, forged through countless quiet nights spent exploring the peaceful places of the world. Luna resting her silver head against his arm filled Oliver with a warm sense of friendship and trust. He stroked her velvet feathers gently. The night air remained wonderfully mild and still, held in the warm protection of the moonlit aura. Down in the valley, the world was wrapped in deep, undisturbed sleep. Houses, forests, rivers, and fields slept peacefully beneath the starry sky. Up on the mountain peak, Oliver felt his own eyelids growing heavier with each passing breath. The tiredness was not an unwelcome burden, but a gentle gift, a natural invitation to lay down his thoughts and sink into sweet dreams. The deep stillness of the summit plateau created a protective sanctuary around them. Down in the valley, the world was wrapped in peaceful sleep, held safely in the arms of the night. Oliver felt his own heavy eyelids fluttering down, welcoming the natural, sweet arrival of deep sleep. A heavy, pleasant drowsiness settled over his eyelids, inviting him to lay down his thoughts and rest in the quiet sanctuary of the peak. Oliver adjusted his woolen scarf, leaning back against the smooth marble backrest of the bench. He wrapped his long, fluffy silver tail around his paws for warmth, settling comfortably into the quiet corner of the seat. Luna fluffed her feathers and tucked her beak beneath her wing, ready for a restful sleep. The soft rustle of the glowing silver blossom leaves above sounded like a gentle breeze whispering sweet dreams, carrying away the last fragments of waking thought. Oliver curled up comfortably on the marble bench, wrapping his fluffy silver tail around his nose for warmth. Luna fluffed her feathers into a round ball of silver beside him. The gentle rustle of glowing petals above sounded like a soothing whisper of sweet dreams, lulling them both into peaceful slumber. Wrapping his soft silver tail around his paws, Oliver rested comfortably in the corner of the bench, surrounded by whispering leaves. Around the summit, gentle mountain breezes blew softly through the white clover, carrying the fragrant scent of vanilla across the plateau. The breeze was light and soothing, like a mother's hand gently rocking a cradle. The starlight above seemed to pulse in slow, relaxed rhythms, mirroring the quiet breathing of the sleeping fox and owl. Everything in the universe was moving in perfect, serene harmony, honoring the quiet art of rest. The mountain breeze drifted softly over the plateau, carrying the soothing scent of vanilla clover and pine resin. The twinkling starlight above pulsed in slow, gentle rhythms, echoing the slow rise and fall of Oliver's breath. All of nature seemed to join together in a silent, beautiful lullaby of rest. The gentle mountain wind sang a quiet bedtime lullaby across the clover meadow, rocking the world into a deep and peaceful slumber. As the middle of the night arrived, the moonlight deepened into a warm, golden-silver hue. The light coated the surrounding snowfields in a soft glow that looked like shimmering peach silk. Oliver opened his eyes just a sliver to take in the beautiful sight, feeling a cozy warmth spreading through his chest. He took one last slow, deep breath of the fresh mountain air, filling his lungs with pure serenity, before releasing it with a quiet, contented sigh. The moonlight shifted into a warm golden-silver hue, painting the distant snowfields in soft peach tones. Oliver smiled sleepily at the beautiful sight, feeling a cozy warmth spread through his entire body. He let out a long, satisfied sigh, releasing his final waking thought to the gentle night. The golden-silver moonlight painted the snowfields in peach silk hues, filling his chest with a warm, cozy feeling of utter tranquility. In his sleepy mind, Oliver reflected on how wonderful it was to live in a world filled with such quiet, sacred places. Places where the sky touched the earth, where the mountain waters sang lullabies, and where the stars watched over all living things with endless care. He knew that tomorrow would bring a new day, but for now, the night belonged to peace and rest. There was nowhere else he needed to be, nothing else he needed to do. In his sleepy mind, Oliver knew that peace was not something far away, but a quiet place inside his own heart. The mountain, the moon, and the stars were gentle reminders of the timeless quiet that always surrounds us. He closed his eyes completely, ready for a deep and restorative sleep. In his sleepy heart, he knew that the quiet peace of the mountain would always be there, holding the world in gentle safety. The glowing blossoms of the silver blossom tree began to release a soft shower of luminescent white petals into the air. The petals fell slowly through the night, creating a soft, glowing blanket around the marble bench. The scene was bathed in such profound stillness that even the mountain wind held its breath, allowing the quiet beauty of the moment to reign supreme over the high summit. Glowing white petals continued to shower down softly from the branches, forming a luminescent velvet rug around the marble bench. The peak was silent and serene, held in the timeless stillness of midsummer night. Everything was calm, everything was beautiful, and everything was at peace. Glowing petals rained down softly from above, blanketing the ground around the marble bench in a soft cushion of luminescent light. High above, the full moon slowly began its gentle descent toward the western horizon, continuing its eternal journey across the dark tapestry of the cosmos. Yet its silver rays remained anchored to the peak of Mount Celestia, keeping the summit wrapped in a warm cocoon of light. Oliver let his mind drift freely into the realm of dreams, floating upon clouds of silver stardust and sweet lullabies. High above, the moon journeyed gracefully toward the west, leaving a golden trail of light across the sky. The peak of Mount Celestia remained anchored in silver brilliance, keeping Oliver and Luna safe within its warm glow as they drifted deeper into peaceful dreams. The full moon drifted slowly across the western sky, anchoring its silver rays to the summit to protect their quiet dreams. In his dreams, Oliver saw Silverveil Valley far below, wrapped in cozy blue mists. He saw his small timber cottage with its river stone chimney, waiting warmly for his return whenever he chose to walk back down the trail. But there was no rush. The cottage would wait, the valley would sleep, and the mountain would stand strong, guarding his rest through all the hours of the night. Dream visions of his cozy timber cottage and the quiet valley below filled Oliver's sleep with warmth. He saw the amber glow of his hearth fire and the quiet river stone chimney, knowing he would return when morning came. For now, he rested in absolute comfort on the mountain peak. Peaceful dream visions of his cozy timber cottage below filled his mind, reassuring him that home was safe and waiting warmly. Luna shifted slightly on the marble seat, letting out a faint, sleepy coo before settling back into stillness. The owl's tranquil presence added to the deep quiet surrounding them. Together on the mountain peak that touched the moon, the silver fox and the silver owl rested beneath the ancient tree, united in the simple joy of being present in a peaceful universe. Luna nestled closer against his side with a quiet, sleepy coo. The silver owl and the silver fox slept soundly side by side under the glowing boughs. The universe watched over them with endless care, celebrating the quiet magic of their peaceful friendship. Beside him on the bench, Luna cooed sleepily in her dreams, united with Oliver in the simple joy of serene companionship. The stars above continued their slow, majestic wheeling across the night sky, painting silent patterns of silver light. Constellations of glowing bears, stags, and celestial rivers drifted by, keeping watch over the sleeping earth below. Every star seemed to whisper a quiet promise of safety, warmth, and deep, restorative sleep to all who looked upon them. The grand constellations of the night sky wheeled slowly overhead, casting gentle starlight upon the summit. Every star seemed to radiate a silent blessing of comfort and protection, guarding the sleep of all living creatures across the mountain and valley below. The great constellations of the night sky watched over the sleeping earth, whispering sweet promises of rest, comfort, and safety. Down in the mountain streams, the clear water continued to flow gently over smooth pebbles, singing its endless lullaby to the sleeping forest. In the meadows, the starlace flowers swayed softly in the breeze, releasing their sweet perfume into the quiet night. All of nature was participating in this grand, beautiful harmony of rest and quiet renewal. Far below, the mountain streams sang their endless water song, and the starlace flowers swayed in the soft night breeze. All creation was resting in profound harmony, wrapped in the quiet cloak of midsummer night. Sleep came easy, deep, and wonderfully sweet. Down in the quiet forest below, the streams sang their gentle songs, joining all of nature in a grand harmony of rest. Oliver's breathing became slow, deep, and steady, the rhythm of a creature in total alignment with his world. In and out, in and out. Each breath brought deeper relaxation, sinking his body comfortably into the soft moss and marble bench. His muscles relaxed completely, letting go of every bit of tension from the day. Oliver's breath was steady, slow, and deep. In and out, in and out. His body sank into complete relaxation on the marble bench, cushioned by soft moss and falling petals. Every muscle was completely relaxed, yielding to the pure peace of the mountain. His breathing was slow, calm, and steady, bringing deep relaxation to every muscle as he sank into effortless slumber. The subtle warmth of the midsummer night wrapped around the summit like a soft, cozy blanket. Even at this high altitude, the air was mild, gentle, and comforting. The scent of wild clover, pine needles, and sweet silver blossoms filled every breath, lulling Oliver deeper into the peaceful depths of tranquil sleep. The warm night air carried the delicate scents of clover, sweet pine, and silver blossom petals. It wrapped around the peak like a cozy quilt, keeping Oliver warm and comfortable throughout the quiet night hours as he slept peacefully under the stars. Soft night air wrapped around the peak like a warm blanket, scenting his sleep with clover blossoms, pine needles, and sweet starlight. As the quiet hours of the night passed by, the moon touched every corner of the mountain with its silver blessing. It blessed the tall pine trees, the crystal caverns, the bubbling streams, and the high meadows. And most of all, it blessed the summit of Mount Celestia and the two peaceful friends resting together beneath the ancient tree. The full moon's blessing rested upon every forest, brook, meadow, and ridge. On the summit of Mount Celestia, Oliver and Luna slept soundly, surrounded by the silver light that had touched the mountain peak on this magical midsummer night. The silver moonlight blessed the mountain peak and the two quiet friends resting peacefully under the ancient silver tree. The world felt peaceful, whole, and beautiful. There was no fear in the dark, only soft shadows and glowing starlight. The night was not something to be feared, but a quiet sanctuary, a gentle space where the body could rest, the mind could dream, and the spirit could find renewal. Night was a quiet sanctuary of rest and renewal. In the darkness, the stars shone brighter, and the heart found its deepest quiet. Oliver slept deeply, anchored in the peaceful beauty of a world that cared for all its sleeping children. The dark night was a quiet harbor of healing and rest, where the spirit found renewal and the body slept in total peace. Oliver sank into the deepest, most tranquil sleep he had ever known. His mind was filled with peaceful images of silver blossoms floating on quiet waters, stars shining brightly over sleeping valleys, and the gentle touch of moonlight on his fur. He rested peacefully, knowing he was safe, loved, and held by the quiet grace of the world. Peaceful dreams of floating blossoms, starry skies, and gentle waters washed through Oliver's mind. He was safe, warm, and completely at rest, held in the everlasting embrace of nature's quiet grace. Oliver drifted into the deepest, most restful slumber, surrounded by peaceful visions of glowing blossoms and quiet starry skies. And so, high on the summit pinnacle of Mount Celestia, where the mountain peak touched the moon, Oliver the silver fox and Luna the silver owl slept soundly beneath the glowing branches of the ancient tree. The stars kept watch overhead, the breeze sang a gentle lullaby, and the full moon showered the sleeping mountain in eternal silver light. All was quiet, all was calm, and all was peacefully at rest in the beautiful night. And so, on the summit of Mount Celestia where the mountain peak touched the moon, Oliver the silver fox and Luna the silver owl slept peacefully under the glowing branches. The stars watched over them, the night breeze sang a gentle lullaby, and the full moon shone down in eternal silver light. All was quiet, all was calm, and all was peacefully at rest. High on Mount Celestia where the mountain peak touched the moon, Oliver and Luna slept peacefully in the quiet silver light.